Roger. Happy you as well. Thank you very much. And location on fly now. Over.
The thick line, the tall line is 275. Just so you know, I'm not bullshitting you. All right, hello, Nick here. Playing with a new radio, new to me anyway. It's a Hammarlund HQ180, and it's the A version, if that makes a difference. And it's a pretty cool radio. And you just saw it on some lower sideband, and that sucker is like 1 hertz off. I mean, it was, I think the scale says like 273, and it's actual 272 actual. Dude, you can't beat that with a stick, all right? No way. And I could get it even closer, all right, because you can crystal beat this and adjust this, so it's, yeah, you can do all that kind of crazy shit. All right, but I just like to leave this right in the middle, and you'll see why, because on AM, 2.5, 5, 10, all those WWVs are perfectly lined up. And if you were to start moving this around for each band, which is normal on a tube radio, you'd have to do that for, yeah, just leave it alone, okay? Let it be a tick mark off either way, who cares? All you guys that were toilet trained at gunpoint and had your moms press your underwear when you were little, go watch another video. Anyway, all right, so that's lower sideband. Let's check out some AM. So to put it in AM, you select AM here, but you also then have to change this to both. All right, so the way you, this is the bandwidths. The number 321.5, it corresponds to one sideband, whether it's lower or upper. So right now we're in, well, if this was in upper or lower, that would be 3 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz. But when you put it in both, you double this number. So the bandwidth then doubles. All right, so when we're in AM mode, and this is on both, that 3 becomes a 6, the 2 becomes a 4, and so on. And then you've got a vernier tuning. All right. A BFO for CW to change the tone. This slot is, I actually had it straight up to, you're not supposed to run it like that. What it does is it nulls, it adds a null to the, it's like a notch, and it adds a null to the indicated frequency. So 0 would be the center carrier, and then you can go off like up 5 kilohertz or down 5 kilohertz. The fact that we were listening to sideband is probably why when this was on 0, it didn't hurt it, because technically a sideband signal is not on the center carrier. It's on the sideband. Anyway, so, all right, we've gone over this. Obviously your band selection, volume, RF gain, send, receive. Here's calibrate to get your crystal signal, antenna trimmer, noise limiter, and then AVC, slow, fast, medium, blah, 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 or off. Has a clock works, clock works great. I didn't bother setting it after the first time I got this, because the first time I got it, I plugged it in and I left it plugged in. And even when I wasn't using it, I turned it off. The clock runs as long as the radio's plugged in. But the radio was off, and I happened to walk by it, and I just looked down, and the top cover has got all these little air holes in it, and I could see one of the tubes glowing. And I'm like, really? Yeah, so if it's plugged in, there's one tube is always glowing. I'm like, I don't like that. So I unplug it if I'm not using it, which makes the clock stop, which makes it a moot to reset, to set the clock, all right? But for the 3 hours or 4 hours that I had it plugged in, it was spot on. Very, very accurate. So very happy about that. All right, so let's go back to how do you tune AM now. So to tune AM, you have to, this is a band spread, and then this is your main tuning, and then technically this is your fine tuning, okay? So you have to put your band spreader at 100% or 100 on the scale, which means all the way over. And remember, this is adjustable with this knob. You can move that line using the crystal calibrator, and you can zero beat every different band or different parts within different bands, okay? So that this is always reading perfectly. But it's a lot of work. So anyway, so I've got the line centered, because when you move this, the line goes like this or goes like this. So I've got it pretty much centered, or at least to my eyes, centered as I can get it. So we got that there. So this, in order for this dial to be accurate, this has to be on 100%, or the, you know, all the way at the end there. And then you can tune AM, as long as you have this in AM and this on both. And then you can use either the 3 or the 2 for bandwidths. 1 and double it to be 2. 2 kilohertz is too small for AM. So, and remember, this works even in AM. So we'll leave that centered. We'll leave the slot way off, okay? Because we don't want to null anything, not yet anyway, unless we get a heterodyne. And then as long as we're in AVC mode, we're on slow AVC, which is slow AGC basically. We leave our RF all the way up, and then work this. So now that you've seen all the controls, I need to push the camera closer to the radio so I can get to it here. So we're mostly just going to be looking at the what do you call them, dials. All right, because I need to get in close. Like one thing about these little numbers are really small. All right, if you're an old man and you need bifocals like me, yeah. So it's a pain in the, that part's a pain in the ass. So anyway, so $7.490. And this tuning here is extremely delicate because the slightest movement of this can put you out of your bandwidth. So you get it on, and then you can actually fine tune it either way with this. And if you want to be perfect, you put this, zero beat it, put it on SSB, you hear the tone, zero beat that. So that's zero beat.
All
right, 7,490. While we're here, let's just go up a little here. All right, so so we went up one band. So here's the only place on any of the bands that the scale is kind of off. So WWV here is off by, you know, so if that's 15.1, that's 15, so 5, that's about 15.2, okay? Actually, I'm sorry, it's 15.02, which means we're 20 hertz off. And I don't know if I could get a full 20 hertz of correction out of moving this. All right, the zero line. But you'll see that's because we're all the way at the end of this one band, and you know, what the heck, I've got radios that are further off than that. So let's go.
The scene, or I prefer to say the field. Artist and the first curiosity to the region that
160 maybe. Let me check that on. I've got my little icon up here.
So there has to be something related to the field. When the artists will participate in the project, they usually choose artists who are familiar with localized creation.
No, it's 13,660.
We will invite them to come and visit some investigations or looking for
640.
Artists take local culture and local stories, local people, and the theories as the content.
All right, so 13640.
For example, we have a granary special exhibition named I Hometown. It is created by a group.
Well, let's hear what it sounds like. Let's change the bandwidth. So 6, 4, 2, 2's too small. But the 4 and the 6, you know, work pretty good for voice on shortwave. Let's go to. Let's go down to WWV at 10. That's 0 beat. That's pretty darn close. Let me, if I put the camera right in front of it. That's bait. That's money. Okay. So while we're here, look one band down, you see 5. So let's check that. Right about there. All right, look at that. Just like a line thickness off. All right, let's see if 2.5 is in play yet. Yep, it is. Right there. Change it to 4 kilohertz. Yeah, look at that, baby. All right. Let's go up and do some 49 meters shortwave. Starts at 5.8 and goes up to like 6.2, so. And on the shortwave, I'm doing all this without changing this, even though you can. 5.850. Oh, 5.9 must be off. That's 5.935. There's 5.950. There's Cuba at 6, but Cuba's always screwed up. I got a carrier, but really nothing coming out. Radio Marti is 6030, 6.030. Should be just before that small tick mark. Then Canada, it's either Montreal or Toronto, is 6070. There's 50. That's probably 6060. I don't think 6070 is up yet. It's kind of early. It's 8:20 p.m. Yeah, too early. Later tonight, that'll be up much, much more. Remember, I'm in Texas. That's 180 or 185. 6.180 or 185. I can't remember. And if you want, you can fine tune it here. Or you can fine tune it here. Let's see, what else? Oh, I am having my top band. So there's 6 bands. So the first 5 all work great. The top band, which is the highest frequency, 15.35 to 30 megahertz, it's intermittent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think it's a dirty band switch. Probably because no one ever used that. All right, because there really isn't a lot of stuff going on up there. When it was working and it was all dialed in and I antenna tuned it, I was getting that little weak beacon. I think I put a video up of that. Yeah, I did, of this radio on that little weak beacon, 28.209. So let's see if there's anything going on up there. Then you got to peek it. Yeah, I don't think it's working. If the peak's not moving, I'm thinking it's not working. Not that there's really anything up here to listen to this time of night. There is a little bit in the 15 range. Yeah, so it's not up right now. So what I'm gonna do, so I ordered a new tube kit, vacuum tubes for this thing, and when they get here, I am going to take the chassis out of the cabinet, which is not hard to do, and then I'll probably change some of the tubes, and then while I got it out, if I can get at the band switch, I'll clean the band switch. And I actually watched some videos online, and it looks like the band switch is pretty exposed from the bottom if you take the chassis out of the case. So I think I should be able to get in there. Maybe I can get a pencil eraser and scrub that carbon off of the contacts if it's exposed, if it's like presenting itself to me. If not, I'll have to put a little contact cleaner in there, maybe deoxit something. But the fact that it works, then it doesn't work, to me, that's like, yeah, that's a band switch. Because everything else works perfect. Yeah, what time is it? 1 more minute. Let's see if we get a vomit. So let's go to 10:51. So go to 10, somewhere in there. So you put it on sideband upper. Should be, I don't know, in there somewhere. We'll have to wait till it starts. We've got 30 more seconds, 35 seconds. We're on sideband upper, 3 kilohertz. We can change it to 2, centered on here. I'll tell you when that clock, because that clock is an atomic clock, so when that clock kicks off, I'll let you know. Right now. This is like digital. 10.051 on upper, and I can fine tune it here if I needed to, but I got it pretty good with this.
Temporarily 10000 until 18000. Visibility 6 miles. Light rain. Ceiling 800 broken. 1,200 overtime.
All right, so let's back out a little here. So, yep. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that radio. It's pretty cool. I'm like I said though, I'm gonna. I got the manual. I downloaded it online, and I read the whole dang thing. Okay, I'm a nerd, and it said that if you get a little what do you call it? What's the term I'm using? Fading, not fading. Shit, I keep forgetting the word. But like in some of your SSB signals, if they move, wander. There's a term for it. I forgot what it's called. They tell you what two tubes to change. And so that's why I bought the tube. I found a guy on eBay that sold a complete tube kit for this and said they're all brand new. And his user rating is 100% positive. So that's a good indicator that he's not going to send me junk. They could be junk, but I'm going to bet that they're not. And anyway, so I'll change a few of them out. And while I'm in there, like I said, I'll clean that band switch. And then we'll come back and, I'll give you a report and let you know how it turned out. The radio works well. The S meter I'm watching the S meter bouncing around there. And the clock works great too. But I just don't want to leave this thing on all the time. Once I saw that tube was always glowing, it's just like I don't know. I don't like that. But no, it works good. I'm very happy with it. Looks good, works good. And I don't know, so you might be able to tell that I let me take the camera out of the rack here, the tripod. I redid my radio room. So for those of you that pay attention, so you probably recognize most of these radios. So I did a little bit of reorganizing. I made room on the end for some of the smaller tabletop radios there. Okay. And then I reorganized, like the 8711 and the 340 used to be right here. And then Robert, you'll notice that there used to be a piece of shit radio on the bottom of this stack called a Kenwood 890. And that piece of shit, I think it's holding up a tomato plant in the backyard. So anyway, so I got those two over there, kind of move stuff around a little bit to make room for that. Then kind of move these over. The 390 was never here before. So I put that in here, that on top. Then this is the 388. This thing is working like a dream. This is an absolutely dream radio right here. And then I left an empty space because I had to make all this room here. I've got a radio coming. It's supposed to be here Thursday. Tracking says it will be here Thursday. I keep saying my dream radio or radio I've always wanted, but this one actually is. All right, ever since I first started getting into radios in the mid-1990s, I've always wanted this radio, but I could never find one in perfectly operational condition. And the guy who sold this one to me sent me a video of it working, and it works perfectly. At least in the video it does. So we'll see. And of course, I'll do a video on it when I get it, but it's going to go right there, and it's going to take up all that space. And it's got a huge space. It's got a speaker the same size as the radio. So I'm not going to put it on top of the radio. I cleared a space here to put it either on this little shelf, or I'll pull that out and put it on the floor if it's too big. But the speaker's the same size as the radio. Anyway, so that's going to go there. And reorganize the stuff, and yeah, everything's working great. So I've got Stridesburg multi-couplers working so this will be on a Stridesburg. All this stuff is on Stridesburgs all the way up to right here. So all this stuff. All right. And then these, I had one extra Stridesburg lead. So what I did was I ran it to an Alpha Delta, feeding these radios, and then a jumper from here to here, and then feeding these radios. And then it also gives me this long, skinny blue one here that I can drag across the doorway and bring it over here to these radios. That's right, I've made a cleared this table off and set all these up. These are mostly like military radios. So I've done videos on all these if you want to see them. This is a 320 Klansman, 321 Klansman. This is called an RP4. It's a Yugoslavian HF radio. These are man packs. This is like a Jeep radio. These are Commonwealth. So Canada, Britain, Australia, the Commonwealth countries mostly use those. And you can see I got the whip. It's broken. It breaks down in sections. But that'll work. And I also got a jumper for BNC, so I could use a BNC on all of them. But yeah, so I got the radio room set up real nice. I can turn any radio on and roll with it. There's the radio graveyard down there. The shit that ain't working. So anyway, that's it. So thanks for hanging out. And when this sucker gets here, y'all will be the first to see it. All right.